welcome once again. I think we are going with the same topic, that is C++. I think today we will be going with the control structures. Okay, control structures in C++. A statement is a part of the program that is executed. A statement specifies certain actions. So whatever the instructions we write, that also is known as a statement. Okay, C++ program is a set of statements. Statements here indicates instructions. These statements are normally executed one after another. Therefore, this is known as sequential execution. Okay, so that means one step, then the second instruction, then the third instruction, and all. Okay, now while coding for real life problems, we may need to take decisions. Sometimes we have to switch from normal sequence to some other and change our actions. For this, C++ provides two control structures. So your control structures had been divided into two: selection control structures or branching, and loop structures, that is iterations or repetitions. Okay, selection means branching. That means it will be just you have to take a decision whether you want to do this or that. Okay, and iteration is also like repetition. Suppose if you want to repeat some steps again and again, then you can use this. Okay, now a selection structure is also called as a branching or the conditional structures. Here we test a condition, and based on that, based on the result of the condition, we execute certain group of statements. So depending upon your conditions, they will take a decisions. Okay, C++ provides the following statements to achieve this. Okay, if the if statement, so these are some of the selection structures, or sorry, branching structures. If statement, then we have if else statement, then else if statement, switch statement, and goto. I think mostly we will not be studying goto statements. Okay, till switch statements will be going through. Okay, now what is if else? When we'll see the next slide, that time it will be more clear. Okay, now that was about, I think, branching statements. Then we have loop structures, or we also call it as a iteration or repetition. Okay, in loop structure, certain group of statements or instructions is executed repeatedly by forming a loop. A loop is executed for definite terms, number of times. Okay, C++ provides statements for the formation of loop. So these are the three statements or three types of loops you can say in C++: while loop, do while loop, or for loop. Or you can say while statement, do while statement, and for statements. I think this time we will not see the loops, but definitely we will have branching group branching. Okay, so I think branching we have already seen. Simple if. So if the if statement is powerful decision making statement, and it is used to control the flow of execution of statements. It is a two-way decision statement and is used in conjunction with an expression. The general form of if statement is: if there is a condition, if the condition is true, you have to do this. Okay, otherwise if this condition is false, then you have to do whatever is written after this block. Okay, now I think I'll just draw the flow chart. I think in the previous chapter we have already studied the flow chart, so we'll see that. So suppose this is going whatever, this is your expression, or you can say test condition. If it is true, you have to execute the statement. If it is false, then you have to come out. If it is true, then you will execute the statement, and then only you will do the statement number X. Okay, if it is false, then you will do directly statement number X. So I hope you understood. This is a true simple if. In if statement, this statement will be executed only if the condition is true. if the condition is false, then it will directly go with this statement, then it will go in the normal sequence. Okay, so let's take some examples. Okay, now selection statement, simple if the if keyword is used to execute the statement or a block if and only if the condition is fulfilled. Very important, if and only if. So if the condition is satisfied, then only it will execute. For example, I think this is a syntax: if condition, then it will get executed, this statement will execute it. Now please try to understand this. If x equal to 100, now remember that whatever the examples I'm taking, they are just a part of the program, they are not the complete program. Okay, if x equal to 100, that means if the value of x is, it is like comparing, if x equal to 100, see out, that means it will print x is 100. So and then now let's try to understand what this statement means. If x is not exactly 100, the statement is ignored and nothing is printed. So remember that if the value of x is, so everything depends upon the value of x. If x is 100, then this is true. Okay, otherwise this will be false. So remember that if the value of x is 100, okay, then this statement will get printed, otherwise it will not get printed. Okay, otherwise it will be ignored, nothing will be printed. Okay, now let's take one more way. 1 minute. If you want to include more than a single statement to be executed, then the condition, when the condition is fulfilled, these statements are enclosed in the braces, okay, forming a block. So if I think in the previous statement, I think this we call it as a block. The block starts here, block ends here. Okay, so if x is if this is true, then it will print this, and here its value will get printed. Okay, either you can write like this or you can write like this also. If x equal to 100, see out, x is, and then it will print the value of x. So I hope you understood till here. Now let's go with if else. Now the drawback of if is, if the condition is true, then only it will get executed. But if the condition is false, nothing happens. But let's see here. The selection statement with if can specify only what happens when the condition is not fulfilled. By using the else keyword to introduce an alternative statement, the syntax is if condition, this statement, else this statement. So if it is true, then you have to do something. If it is false, then also you have to do something. So can you see it is written where statement 1 is executed in the case of the condition is true. So this is when the condition is true, and this is statement 2 is executed when the condition is false. Okay, so remember that you can say this is your true part and this is your false part. Okay, now let's take some other examples. Now can you see this is our syntax, the selection statement if and else. Its syntax is if condition is true, you have to do this, else you have to do this. So whether the when you check the flow chart, can you see this is for true part, you have to do this. If it is false, you have to do this. And remember that out of true or false, only one statement will execute it, either the true part or the false part. And finally what happens, it will come to the statement number x, and then the next statement and all. So I hope you understood what is if else. Okay, now let's take an example. Can you see, for example, if x equal to 100, x is 100. But suppose if x is not 100, like in the previous case, it doesn't print anything. But here what happens, it will also print x is not 100. So this is for true part, this is false part. This print, I think there's an explanation here. If x is 100, if indeed x has a value 100, but if it does not, and only if does not, it prints x is not 100 instead. So if this is for true part and this is for false part. So I hope you understood. Now we are going with the nested ifs. Nested if else, you can say nested if else. So can you see here, if then else, and inside if we are having if else. Okay, so we call it as a nested if else. So actually, one minute. Actually, you can say that one minute. You can say that this is your first block, and can you see this is your one minute. This is your next block. Okay, that is your else part. This is your else part. Okay, till here. So inside if we are having a if else, can you see if this condition is true, then again you have to check the next condition. If both the conditions are true, then this will get executed. If this is true but this is false, then you have to execute this. If the first condition itself is false, that means it will directly go to the else and then it will not execute all this first block. Okay, so it will come here, and here also it will check if this statement is true, then it will execute this true part. If both the condition, that means this is also, if the first condition is false and this condition is also false, then this will get printed. So I'll give you one example, then it will be more clear. Yes, now first of all we will see this, what is nested if else. So if this condition is true, again it will check one more condition, and if it is also true, you have to execute this. If if first condition is true, then you have to go to the false statement, and here we will get this. If this condition is false, then this statement, and finally will come out of this. Okay, this we call it as nested if. Okay, now let's take an example here. Can you see if A is greater than B? Okay, actually we want to find out greatest among three numbers. So if A is greater than B, that means among A and B, I'll just give you an example here. Suppose A, B, C. So let's make A is the greatest number. Suppose 70, then 10 and 20. Okay, so in this case, can you see A is greater than B? So it will come here. Then it will also check whether A is greater than C. Yes, can you see 70 is greater than 10 and 70 is also greater than 20. So in this case, A is the largest. Okay, but suppose in the next statement, suppose if I make this as small, okay, like I'll change the values. Okay, now let's make this as 10, this is 70 and this is 20. Okay, so what happens in this case, first statement only, can you see A is greater than B? Not possible, because A is 10 and B is 70. Okay, so it will directly go here. Then it has to check whether B is less than C. That is also not possible, because B is greater than C. So your output will be B. Okay, now let's take the last case, where what we will do, let's this will be 10, that this will be 10, this will be 20, and let's make this as 30. Okay, so what happens in this case is, can you see A is greater than B? Not possible, so it will go here, because this B ka value is 20 and C ka value is 30. So 20 is greater than 30, not possible, so largest is C. So I think you can say here we are having two blocks. One, this is if else, this is if part, this is else part, and inside if also we are having if else. So we call it as a nested if else. Okay, now after this we'll go with I think here we have come to the end of the slide, but don't worry, I think I hope you understood if else. Okay, nested if else it is. Okay, So if this first condition is true, then it will check the second condition. If second condition is also true, then only it will be this will get executed. If the first condition is not true, then it will directly go here. So I hope you understood. So in this slide, in this session, we have already seen simple if, then if else, and nested if else. Okay, I think you might have understood. We will meet in the next session. Thank you.